Raw is a French-Belgian feature film debut, and it's one hell of a twisted coming-of-age story with horror elements about a 16-year-old girl named Justine, who comes from a family of veterinarians and vegetarians. She's a brilliant student who is following in the footsteps of her parents and big sister, starting out at the same renowned veterinary college, where her big sister already is established among the school hierarchy. The events of the film take place during 1 week of initiation that includes some ridiculously degrading and merciless hazing from the upperclassmen at the college. She experiences for the first time a world in which cruelty has become the norm. Desperate to fit in, she is eventually persuaded to eat raw meat for the very first time in her life, setting in motion a chain of events and pushing her on a downward spiral, unlocking a craving for human flesh. Despite having been met with critical acclaim all across the board, this film is really not an easy pill to swallow, folks. Allegedly, at the Toronto Film Festival last year, certain viewers were in need of emergency medical services because they were fainting, because some of them couldn't really handle the more graphic scenes. And the director of the film said that she was actually shocked when she heard about this at the Q&A session after the screening. I myself am actually a little bit shocked to hear that she was shocked about something like this. Just goes to show you how differently each and every one of us views films, especially horror films. Now, this film is barely a horror film. Of course, it has like horrible elements in it, but like I said, I think it's more of an insane and twisted, like coming-of-age story, a sexual awakening story that just so happens to be connected to and include cannibalism. Just goes to show you that what American audiences and European audiences and even Asian audiences find to be unsettling in horror movies is very, very, very different. I mean, I myself am more familiar with American horror movies, despite the fact that they never truly frighten me or very rarely like unsettle me or upset me, but nevertheless I like them for like the atmospheres they create, you know? This film and films similar to it don't really have that, but nevertheless it was an incredibly uncomfortable like experience to sit through. You could almost say that I found this film to be a little bit hard to sink my teeth into. While from the very beginning you do get the sense that there is something incredibly off and even downright sick about this college. I mean, some of the stuff they do, the very first step of initiation for the newcomers, for the freshmen, is a class photo they have to take in which they are splattered with buckets of blood. I wonder where that blood comes from. It's incredibly disgusting. And then afterwards they are asked to eat raw rabbit kidney. It's the very first time Justine eats meat, raw meat. And they also do other stuff like singing these horrible songs, you know, how children in the United States sing the Pledge of Allegiance in schools. These guys are singing these incredibly deviant songs about sex. It's weird. Now, of course, in the beginning you would think that all of this could be taken for some sort of sick joke. I mean, it doesn't appear that anyone is forcing anyone else to take part in this. Nobody is forcing anyone else to sing or to eat meat. But you do realize that you are in cuckoo land when you see all of the students continuing on with their day and walking around campus in this blood-soaked clothing and with their blood-soaked hair. I mean, it's just like absolutely insane. And what's even worse is that the teachers seem to be in on it. There was a scene that's very funny but also very disturbing, in which a professor calls in Justine into his office and actually criticizes her for doing too well in class, actually saying that her good scores are depressing the other students and possibly turning them into worse doctors. He actually says that he has more sympathy for lesser students, for weaker students, because they actually have to fight to stay in. I mean, holy motherfucking shit. Crazy land. Basically what happens during the first third or maybe the first half of the film is like a collection of red herrings, of plot points that don't really lead anywhere, including that scene with the professor and including other stuff as well. Like during a scene, Justine gets a very nasty breakout of some very itchy rashes that probably have to do with some sort of allergy from eating the rabbit kidney, and you would think this is going to become some sort of major problem for her that's going to get worse and worse and worse, but it doesn't. It just disappears and then never returns again. Also, during another scene, we see her in the bathroom vomiting up a bundle of hair, and that as well, you would think, okay, this is something serious, this is going to be a serious problem that's going to get worse and worse and worse as the movie goes along. Same thing, it's also something that disappears, never shows up again. It wasn't until halfway through the film, during the very middle of it, that I felt that we finally got a moment of no return, and it's a scene that I thought was excellent. I thought it was a combination of everything this movie has to offer. It was funny and charming charming, but it ultimately turned into something incredibly disturbing and fucked up and disgusting. And it's also a moment which the movie kind of feels like it takes a little bit of a different trajectory. It becomes a little bit less of this sort of fish out of water, body horror tale, and becomes more about these two sisters trying to connect or reconnect, but even that will backfire on itself during a certain point because they will turn on themselves, they will get jealous of each other because both of them are trying to win the affection of Justine's gay roommate. This is a dude who not only says he is gay and firmly states that he is so, he is also caught by Justine several times having these very homosexual liaisons with other men. So why would two women want to win the affection of a gay dude? It is beyond me. It doesn't really make sense. But trust me, in this film, that's the thing that makes most sense. So now, this film has been praised for its allegedly deep symbolism, and I'm just like, what the fuck? I mean, what's so deep about it? There is symbolism here, and it's quite obvious what it is. College years, they're about sexual experimentation, sexual awakenings, sex in general, carnal cravings. And this film, yeah, it takes that element, takes carnal cravings, and turns them into something literal. I mean, when Justine says that she wants to rip into your body, she means that shit literally. And to me, it was like, okay, clever enough, it's interesting enough, unique scenario for a film, but I don't know what people consider to be so profound or deep or fascinating about it. I mean, for me it was just okay. I don't know why people are considering this to be an idea that is like a work of genius. But something that did impress me very much about this film is the acting by main actress Garance Marillier. I have no idea if I pronounced that right. There is a scene, for example, in which she is dancing in her room in front of a mirror to this ridiculous rap song about necrophilia. Yeah, weird movie, as I said. And she is putting on lipstick and she is kissing her reflection in the mirror, and she is wearing her older sister's dress that she earlier on had a disliking for. The metaphor there is obvious as well. There is another scene, for example, in which, I think you can also see it in the trailer, in which she is having a nightmare that she is being attacked by something in her sleep. There is another scene in which she is absolutely drunk out of her skull. I think that scene is even it appeared to me to be a long uninterrupted shot. So her range is incredible, and she has so much to do in this film, and she excels at everything she does. I mean, it's so incredible how she could go from being sexy to being like frightened and terrified, and to being just absolutely drunk out of her mind. So I really liked it. I really think she made the movie and she carried it very, very successfully. So good job there. So I agree that this is a very good film, but it's definitely not for everyone. I mean, it might prove to be incredibly over the top for some people. It was a little bit too over the top for myself even. The tones don't really seem to mash perfectly, but again, it has a lot to offer. It's very gruesome and bloody and disgusting and upsetting, but it can also be very funny certain moments and charming, and also it can also be quite sad and depressing. So it's very complex and it's very well made, well edited and well acted, but it's definitely not for the faint of heart. And I've just realized that this is the third movie I'm seeing in like a span of a week or a week and a half, in which there are like animal carcasses and corpses and stuff like that. So if you have a weak stomach when seeing that sort of stuff, really be cautious about this film, because you're going to see some animal carcasses and animals being cut to pieces and guts and all that. I've seen Body and Soul, which has similar sorts of scenes, a little bit less explicit, and also Ulrich Seidel's documentary Safari, about rich snobs going hunting endangered animals in the safari. So yeah, I'm this close to becoming a vegetarian, folks. I swear, if I see another movie like this, I'm probably going to be put off meat forever. I wonder if I should see Earthlings tonight. Thanks for watching my review, folks. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so I can see you later with other reviews. And until then, folks, as always, stay cool, stay awesome, and don't eat human flesh. Goodbye.